Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be talking about my birth story. And yeah, I've been trying to make this video all day, but my little baby girl has just not taken her nap today, y'all. Like, she slept really long this morning, and then we've been trying to get breastfeeding down pat and stuff, which we'll get into all of that later in the video. But yeah, so I'm finally on here. She done woke up as I was trying to make the first part of the video, so we're here. If you're new here and you haven't watched my labor and delivery vlog, go ahead and go back and watch that video so you will know like kind of what happened. I think I want to start like a week before I gave birth. Because I was just having a lot of early labor signs. My mucus plug was coming out a little bit. I was experiencing lightning crotch. If you don't know what lightning crotch is, child, it's like the sharpest pain like down there, and it's hard to walk, it's hard to move in bed. Like, it was just really hard. Other than that, I was having whatchamacallit, on and off contractions. They were very inconsistent. Yeah, other than that, I don't think I had any other early labor signs, and if I did, I just really cannot remember right now. But basically, the weekend that I gave birth, on that Friday, which was February 7th, I was like, I straight would not be surprised if I gave birth on Super Bowl Sunday, because that's just like my life, you know? I just really felt like I was gonna give birth on Super Bowl Sunday. And guess what? I gave birth on Super Bowl Sunday. Literally Saturday on the 8th, I did not feel anything different, especially at nighttime. Like, I did not feel like, you know, that I could possibly go into labor like the following morning or the next day. So I just went to bed like usual. And then, yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning, it was like I was in a dream and I was feeling these contractions like back to back. So I woke up and was like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, cause I just thought it was in a dream or something. And I straight woke up and it was actually real. Like, I was having contractions. So I started timing them and everything, and they were really close. Like, my app was telling me to go to the hospital at 6 in the morning. And I didn't have that instinct to actually go to the hospital. So I stayed home and labored at home. And I called the midwives and everything to let them know what's going on. They suggested that I stayed home as well and labor more, because if you go to the hospital too early, they're gonna send you straight home. And we live 25 minutes away from the hospital, so we was not gonna like risk it and everything. And even though I'm a first-time mom, like, I was not all for that, like, worrying. Like, I was just chilling for real, like, through the whole process until them contractions really hit. Like, I was not tripping about nothing. I knew that God got me and everything, and if there were any complications and stuff, like I said, I knew that God had me. But yeah, so after that, I called the midwives. They told me to labor at home, and that's exactly what I did. I started cleaning up the house and everything just to burn time, and I was still having contractions the same minutes apart. I think I was having them like 3 minutes apart. 3 to 5 minutes apart, I think. If you take like your birthing classes and stuff, they always tell you, like, if you're a first-time mom, if you're having your contractions 3 minutes apart, 3 to 5 minutes. You trying to talk to, girl? 3 to 5 minutes apart, and they last like a minute long, you need to head to the hospital. But like I said, I was good. Plus my water didn't break or anything. So around like, I think 9 or 10. Like I said, you'll have to go watch my labor and delivery vlog, because I had like more of the timestamps on there. My mucus plug was falling out more, and I started having a bloody show. I called back, let the midwives know what was going on. I think I called at like 11. And I was about to eat my first meal because I haven't ate all day. So my husband went to go get me something to eat before things like progressed even more. And the midwife was telling me, don't eat nothing too heavy because it might come back up later. And yeah, it came back up later. But anyways, I let midwife know what was going on. Told me to continue to labor at home if I felt comfortable. I also had a choice to go in and get my cervix checked, which I was not. Like I said, I was not gonna do all that just to be under 3 centimeters and be sent right back home. So I wanted to labor at home as much as possible. Plus it was comfortable to labor at home. But then I remember I was on my ball here. I was bouncing on my ball, and then I started doing the mile circuits, stretches and all of that. If you don't know what that is, you know, like it's all the pregnancy stretches and everything that you do to get your baby in position and to labor. I started doing that, and then I had got up and I felt like a gush. And not like a gush as in like my water broke, but it was definitely a gush, so I was concerned. So I went to the bathroom and it was some liquid and stuff. So I was like, okay, I think things are really progressing now, and I think that we should head to the hospital now, because the midwife did tell me to labor at home for 2 more hours and then head into the hospital so I can get checked. And so that's exactly what we did. And literally like right about that time when it was time to go, that's when that gush happened. So we finally got there and everything, and I was put into an exam room. They monitored the baby's heartbeat, and the baby was good. She was healthy. I'm so proud of my baby. Like, I'm so proud of her. But it was time to get my cervix checked. Now y'all, I got my cervix checked the Tuesday before this Sunday, right? And I was 1.5 centimeters dilated. Mind you, when I got my cervix checked before, it didn't hurt. Like, there was a lot of pressure and everything, but it didn't hurt. Now, this time when I got my cervix checked, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. My husband was over there cringing and everything. He was like, babe, I don't even know if I can watch you give birth, because that was a lot. It was a lot. Like, it was very painful and a lot of pressure and stuff. I had to breathe through it and everything. And come to find out, I was 3 centimeters. So I had the choice to either go home or to be under observation, which observation was to walk around the hospital for 2 hours, do some stretches, walk up and down the stairs. And that's what I chose, because like I said, 25 minutes, nobody's doing that driving. One of the ladies was telling me what to do when I go up and down the stairs, and that's exactly what I did for about, I think, 30 minutes, because y'all, I was so tired. I was up since 5 in the morning, and now it's about like 2 o'clock, I think. No, 1 o'clock. It's about like 1 o'clock now. So after that, my husband and I went to the cafeteria to get some food. I ate some pineapples to progress things more, to see if that worked. And we, not gonna lie, we sat down and ate for about 30 minutes, and that's when my contractions really kind of picked up more. Like, it got to the point where it was like really painful and a little hard to talk in a moment, but I was trying to still be goofy and get my way through and stuff. That last hour / 30 minutes was probably the hardest. That's when they were really picking up. In my labor and delivery vlog, that's when I started doing like them squats, and my husband and I were sitting on the couch. That's when the contractions were really picking up. So we went back a little bit early to go get my cervix checked. I think we went back maybe 15 minutes early, and it was probably like 2:45 at that point. So we got back into the birthing center, and I was waiting to get my cervix checked. It was probably about 2 other people there that were going into labor as well. So I'm just literally sitting on the table waiting to be checked. And when I tell you I had a contraction, the contraction was so deep, my water broke. Like, I felt the pressure as if her head was like coming down, like boom, and like my water just broke all over the table. It was so much fluid. I couldn't believe what I was sitting in. Like, it was so much. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, my water broke. My husband is like, should I go get the lady? I'm like, yeah. And so he was trying to get the lady, and she came in, and I was like, my water broke. Well, and she was like, well, we definitely know you're not going home. And so she checked my cervix, and I was only 3.5 centimeters dilated. So that was kind of a little discouraging, but at least I knew that I wasn't going home. We finally got into our room. My contractions picked up even more. It hurt so bad, I don't even remember the pain. Now I remember what it felt like pushing her out, but like as far as contractions, I straight don't remember the pain. But yes, that's when my husband gave y'all a room tour, and they had to check my iron because I was very, very anemic in my pregnancy, and they wanted to make sure that I was gonna be okay for after I gave birth, because you know, you bleed a lot and all of that stuff. They wanted to make sure my levels were okay, and if they weren't, I would have to go upstairs to labor and delivery and do it that way. But everything worked out how it worked out. At this point, I'm like out of it. Like my mind is just not there anymore. I couldn't talk for real anymore. I'm just like going through the motions, and the contractions were like back to back. I didn't know what to do at this point. Like breathing wasn't helping. My mom was rubbing on my back and stuff. That's when I tried to like get into different positions, and it just wasn't working out. But the midwives and the nurses were so nice and so like caring and gentle with me, and they were very patient. Everything is kind of like a blur. That's why it really kind of took me a minute to make this video. I still haven't processed everything yet, so just bear with me. So after that, I got in the tub to see if that made me feel better, and they were just worse, y'all. I got my cervix checked again, and I was only 5 centimeters dilated. So when I was in the tub, I was just so discouraged, and the contractions hurt so bad. She over here laughing. I was in that tub like in denial. I'm like, I can't do this. I need medicine and stuff. And I wasn't talking about medicine as in like the epidural, because I just knew that I wasn't gonna do the epidural. But as far as like, I wanted either nitrous or something, like put an IV in me or something. And so I got the nitrous. And I don't know what I was expecting from the nitrous, but yeah, that stuff did not work for me. If anything, it made me woozy in between contractions. Like I was very calm in between contractions, but my contractions were literally like a minute to 30 seconds apart, it felt like. So it wasn't too much calming going on. It was just more so, I don't know, but as y'all saw in that video, like my contractions were picking up and I was going through it. But as time went on by, I would say probably like an hour later or maybe 2 hours later. I don't know. It felt like everything was always like 2 hours later. I finally hit 8 centimeters. At that point, it felt like I needed to push. Like my body was bearing down and pushing by itself, and everybody was telling me like, stop pushing, because if you push before you're dilated enough, then you can have a chance of making your cervix like swollen. But my body was pushing and it was hard to resist. I finally got to 9.5 centimeters, but it was just a little bit of my cervix in a way. So the midwife went up and pulled my cervix back, and I think that's when I was able to start pushing. And y'all, they told me I pushed for like an hour, and part of the struggle was because my baby was sunny side up, meaning her face was up instead of her face being towards my back. Could have sworn before she was born that she was in the right position, but somehow, some way, this little girl made her way looking the other way, and it made laboring so much harder. Yeah, I boo-booed a lot. That was one of my worst fears, and it happened. And at that point, it was just like there was nothing that I could do. I didn't even care no more. Like I just wanted the baby to come out. So her head was up. Didn't know that till she came out. But I was pushing for so long, and they was trying to get me to do different positions and everything. And I really just couldn't. Like I was so weak. I couldn't do anything. And I wanted to push to where gravity was pulling her down, because that's a more effective way to push and an easier way to push. But I could only push on my back, y'all, like, cause I was just so tired. So I pushed her out on my back, and it took a long time for her head to come out. Like her head was there for so long. But as I was pushing, I did feel the ring of fire, and it wasn't horrible. Like, it burned, but it wasn't to where it was horrible. Like, it was tolerable. And the feeling of her head along with her body coming out, oh my gosh, it was the weirdest feeling ever. Like, I just kept pushing because I did not want to stop, and her body was just like in there, like I did not. And then I was also like terrified of tearing. Like, I just didn't want to go through that pain of the healing from tearing and all of that. While I was pushing, they was telling me to like feel her head and stuff, and I did not want to feel her head because I was getting so discouraged because I was pushing for so long, and I'm like, why is she not coming out? Like, her head should have been out. Am I doing this right? And everything. And it was a lot. Like, pushing was very exhausting. It didn't hurt, but it was very exhausting. It took so much energy, and the contractions still coming and all of that. It was just too much. But I finally got her out, and this is what they don't really tell you. Afterbirth was horrible. It was actually horrible. Like, they put her on my chest and everything, and they just got to work. They was pushing on my belly, trying to get my placenta out. Somehow, someway, the cord detached from my placenta. So my placenta was stuck in my uterus, and they couldn't get it out. They could not get it out. So they had to call a doctor in, and the doctor reached up into my heart and grabbed that placenta out. And when I tell you, the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life, like, it was so excruciating. I don't even remember the pain. I straight don't even remember how bad it hurt, but it hurt so bad. Like, I think I was screaming a little bit. I don't know. I know I was making some noises because it hurt so bad. Every time they touched down there, it hurt really, really bad. And so after that came out, I was bleeding a lot. But I was good. Like, I didn't feel nauseous or anything. I was surprised that I didn't feel nauseous or that I didn't pass out. I honestly was surprised. After that, the midwives were checking if I had any major tears that needed to be stitched. Luckily, I straight didn't have anything that needed to be stitched up, but I did have a few like minor tears and stuff. So we had delayed cord cutting. So that was really, really good. I was able to take my placenta home. I still don't know what I want to do with it. The baby got a vitamin K droplet in her eyes to prevent her from any like vaginal infections for her eyes. She got the hepatitis shot. So yeah, let's talk about healing. The first day after giving birth, I was cool. Didn't feel any pain when I went to the bathroom, but it did hurt to like walk. I'm gonna be real. It felt like when I was walking, it felt like my intestines were about to fall out of my butt. Like, I know that's a TMI, but that's what it felt like. Like, it felt like all of my insides were about to fall out of me. And I don't know what was going on. It's because everything was just so swollen. Everything was really swollen. I know that. But then the next day after that, that's when things started like burning when I went to the bathroom and just hurting and aching down there. And that lasted all the way till the end of last week. I know that. And in between like that time, things were itchy down there too, like because of everything was healing. So it was very uncomfortable. And then it was very hard to walk at the same time. But I made it through. I used all my postpartum stuff, and now we're here. I do want to talk about going number 2 though. It is a TMI, but that's the point of making this birth story. I just wanted to be really real and upfront with y'all, especially if you're a first-time mom and you don't know what to expect. Let me tell you, because a lot of people don't talk about this, but I think we all know that it's hard to go number 2 after giving birth. But how long is that supposed to last? Because like I said, I'm 2 weeks postpartum, and the first 2 times, okay, cool. Third, fourth, fifth time, now it's like, okay, what's going on? Because the hemorrhoids from going number 2, I think that's worse than actually going number 2 itself. And then feeling like your insides are about to fall out while you're going to the bathroom. It's just horrible. But I did have a stool softener and all of that, which I was taking. Not really taking anymore, but now I know that I need to still be taking it because, child. I guess we can talk about breastfeeding now because, y'all, I'm struggling. I really am struggling when it comes to breastfeeding. The first few days, we was really trying to get her to latch on right, which she was only really latching onto my nipple, and it was making them very like damaged, like they were bleeding and all of that, and it just hurt so much when she was just on them, and I just really couldn't take it, y'all. Like I was just going through it, crying and all of that. So I decided to pump and give her bottles. I was being very naive. Like I didn't think about, okay, if I give her this bottle and not give her the breast anymore, will she go back to the breast? I wasn't thinking about that. Like I didn't think about having a balance between the bottles and her on my breast. Girl. So I was giving her the bottles, and then like 2 days later, I tried to get her latched on, and she was not latching on. And that broke my heart, y'all. Like I was really so excited to breastfeed and everything, and now that I'm feeling better and all of that, she would not latch on. And so I've been seeking out help and everything and still trying to get her latched on. And it's just really, really hard. I'm doing better. She's doing better. But like my flow is just way too fast for her. It just all builds up in her mouth. And she just like lets it out. She's just very lazy when it comes to being latched on because she knows how to latch on. She just gets angry and stuff that she actually has to put in the work to get the milk out and to swallow it and all of that. Like I have a good milk supply and all that stuff. It's just really up to her to like eat, and she'll eat that bottle. Latching on, we're just still working on that, and it's definitely a journey. Definitely been a lot of prayers and tears and everything, but I still have faith that I can get her back to being breastfed and just pumping here and there when I need to. Last thing that I really want to talk about is postpartum. Postpartum is hard. Being a mother is hard in general, but like going through the postpartum thoughts and all of that, it's so hard, y'all. Like when I tell y'all, I probably cry like every other day. Every other day, whether it's something in the moment, like breastfeeding is making me sad, or hearing her cry making me sad, or thinking about her growing up, making stuff like that be making me sad. But something that was really bothering me like the first few days after giving birth was like not being able to spend as much time as I could with my husband. And we knew like that this was coming. We knew that we weren't going to be spending as much time together anymore, at least during the first few months and stuff, trying to get acclimated with our daughter. But like that just really like took me because I was just mourning us before we had the baby. And it's beautiful that we have a child and everything, but it's also like it's never just gonna be us two again. I mean, like when the kids grow up and move out the house, but like that's so long from now. That's why it's so important to have a relationship with God. Like if I just didn't have God, I would not be getting through at all throughout this process. And it's been so hard, like being patient, walking by the fruits of the Spirit. It's been so hard, but God has been sustaining me through it's so hard because like this is my first week with the baby by myself because my husband went back to work, and it's just been me and her and God. Like I just talk to God as if he's just like right here as my friend. Like I really be asking him like, can you watch her while I get in the shower and stuff like that. Like I just need him. And I did want to talk about when I was going through a contraction. They were playing that song Hallelujah by Brandon Lake, I think that's his name. And that contraction was so strong and so painful. Like I just started crying, and I was just crying out to the Lord. I was just like, Lord, where are you? Like I really need you. And in that moment, it's like I was just hugged with his presence, and it just made me like break down and just start crying even more. And it's so many moments that I have like that where I'm just really going through the motions, and my feelings are heightened and my emotions are heightened to where I can't even feel the Lord's presence anymore. And the Lord always like meets me where I'm at, even though I know and my husband has really been, he's been so great, y'all. Like watching him be a father is so beautiful. And I literally felt more in love with my husband just watching him be a father. And that's something that was really hard for me in the beginning of my pregnancy, like getting a grasp of that my daughter literally has a dad, because I don't have a dad, and I didn't grow up with a dad. So the fact that my baby gets to grow up in a 2-parent household, like that's so beautiful to me, and that's something that I've always wanted, like deep down. And I didn't realize how much daddy trauma I have until I got pregnant. Like it's crazy how all of this stuff has been hidden and buried, and then boom, it just came out once I got pregnant. So it just be a lot in moments, and I just really need to make sure that I'm being sober-minded and paying attention to my feelings, to make sure that I'm not ignoring anything, so that I can take all of my emotions and my feelings to the Lord and allow him to tell me what's true and what's not true. Because a lot of the times I'm believing lies from the enemy about myself, like making me feel like I'm just inadequate for a lot of things when that's not true. And I just really need to go to the Lord and remember his word, like speak his word out against those lies, and to take every thought captive so that I can replace those lies with the truth in itself. And then also making sure that I'm diligently going into my secret place and spending time with the Lord and allowing his presence to like overwhelm me, if that makes sense. I know that I'm not alone in this process. Every time I come to the Lord about a problem, like he just lets me know that he is with me and that he will go before me. Like he knows exactly what I need, and he just always shows up and shows out. If you are going through postpartum and you don't know the Lord, I promise you, if you just call his name, if you just call out to him, I promise he's gonna show up for you, and he's gonna give you the most warmest hug, y'all. Just give Jesus a try, y'all. Like he really is the truth and the light. And there's just so much love in him. You just have to really try him for yourself. It's just so crazy to me that the Lord has literally allowed us human beings to just get a little taste of how much he loves us through our children. Like the love that I have for this little girl, it's just only a little bit compared to how much God loves me. And when I first realized that, I was choked up. You know, like that feeling like you finna cry and you just all choked up in your emotions. Like that's just what I was feeling in that moment, because I was like, wow, like God loves me so much. As much as I love this little girl, he loves me so much more than that. And it's just crazy to me. But yeah, you guys, overall I'm doing good. I do have my moments, but I always make sure I go to the Lord and get filled by him so that I can show up as a mother and a wife. Other than that, that is all pretty much that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, if you're going through postpartum right now and you really just need some prayers, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely be praying for y'all. Or if you just don't want to be in the comments at all, you can always send me an email. My email is in my description box, so yeah, go ahead and do that. And then also, if you have any more questions about my birth experience and all of that, or like what I did to prepare and stuff, just leave those in the comment section below as well, and I'll answer those. But yeah, as far as that, I don't have anything else to say, so I will go ahead and attend to my child. But stay blessed, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye.